FERPA. FERPA stands for Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. FERPA was enacted by Congress in 1974. The purpose of this act was to give parents and students a certain degree of confidentiality in dealing with student data that should remain confidential. As a high school staff, we need to be cognizant of FERPA. This could not only affect our students, their families, but it could affect our own careers and possibly end a career or two. Certain information can be released and certain information cannot be released. Some of the information that you can release would include a student's name, date of birth, address, and possibly participation of extracurricular activities. Information that you cannot release would be things like grades, any information that needs to remain confidential, social security number, anything on a student's IEP, anything else that would possibly harm the student. And really, if you use good judgment, you should be okay in regards to FERPA and what you can and cannot release. I have created a little video here with my students. I want to thank them for volunteering their time to do this with me. And I have two scenarios on this video of a classroom situation, and I'll talk a little bit about the video afterwards.
Wow, the test yesterday was really hard.
I know. I don't think I passed. Did you?
I don't know how I did.
Hey class, I graded the quizzes from yesterday and I have all the results. I'm going to go ahead and hand those out.
Oh my god, I did better than I thought I did.
I did horrible. Hey, Mr. Amron, how did I ask you?
The other class, they kind of did as expected. There were some good grades. Thomas, though, whoo, let's just say he didn't pass. The other class, they kind of did as expected. There were some good grades, some pretty low grades. The old class clown can't shut up. Well, he bombed that test.
Both these scenarios were in violation of FERPA. One thing a teacher needs to understand, obviously in scenario one, when I use the student's name and I'm talking about them failing the test, that would be in direct violation. In the second scenario, I did not use a student's name directly. I used a nickname. Well, most students are aware of which person I may be talking about in the other class. And since I'm making a direct reference like that, that would also be in violation of FERPA. It is very important that we keep aware that any release of grades would be in violation of FERPA unless it is to the parent or to the student. FERPA also can affect extracurricular activities and coaching. Some of the things that you can release based on FERPA are an athlete's name, their weight, and their height. A lot of this information is very public. Obviously you can go to certain events and find it in a program if you're attending a basketball game or a wrestling match or a football game or whatever it may be. Even though that information does not violate FERPA to release it, a coach still has to be very aware of who they're giving the information to. I once knew a situation where a coach really got themselves in some hot water releasing a female basketball player's weight, and this girl happened to be overweight, and so that information was not pertinent. You don't need to know a basketball player's weight, and he really especially didn't need to tell the people he was telling around town. And eventually it got back, and the parents were not happy about this, that he was sharing the weight that was off of the physical form. And so that coach ended up kind of really getting himself in a bad situation. So really you have to use good judgment even when you're sharing things that may not directly violate FERPA. Thanks. I hope you have a better view on FERPA and what you can and cannot do in a high school setting.